imagine if all our people have the chance to be chilling. We are here to imagine that the hard work of Atlanta Housing will continue to improve the quality of the people of Atlanta, so they are not only living good and eating good and chilling, but they are living and they are working and they are thriving. So let's pray, y'all. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, God, you have brought us thus far along the way. Eternal God, the atmosphere is filled with the extreme thickness of your grace and mercy that blessed each and every one of us with a brand new day. We are thankful for your sweet spirit that has hovered upon us from the moment you made the decision to give us breath today to the moment we ask you right now to fill this place with your splendor and your glory. Whether this morning has already been occupied with traffic, a call, a text, or interaction that tested our nerve, or whether the present time finds us with no worries or no complaints. Either way, God, we are grateful, and we know that you have something in store for us today. So allow us to let anything fall away that may hinder us from being present in this space. So God, we imagine today. We are reminded when the disciples felt the daunting task of feeding 5,000 people and they asked Jesus what to do. He said to them, you give them something to eat. In other words, it's in you to do this work. So thanks for the reminder that Atlanta Housing, its leadership team, its staff, its volunteers, supporters, and partners have what it takes to continue to create, build, and provide the housing and resources people need. And you have fully equipped them for such a time as this. So God, we imagine today more opportunities for home ownership, more families emerging from financial debt through financial literacy, more families in sustainable lifestyles, more reasonable accommodations and living conditions, and more equity in housing. So God, we imagine today increasing neighborhoods where residents build communities so the communities around them thrive. Streets and sidewalks saturated with the sound of children's voices playing with each other instead of fighting one another. Breaking news reports highlighting the accomplishments of Atlanta Housing and reports that Atlanta is the best place to raise a child. Vital relationships are formed between neighbors so we can get back to when people can knock on someone's door to borrow a cup of sugar, take care of my trash while I'm away, correct someone else's child when they need correcting. So God, we imagine today that the state of Atlanta Housing and all that transpires today inspires, invigorates, and renews the endless possibilities and imaginations that settles us into the reality, God, that you are able to do immeasurably more than we can ever ask or imagine. Simply put, God, we imagine today, but we can't imagine what we can't imagine. God, we bind ourselves together in the midst of all this talent, intelligence, and acumen, and ask that you lead us, that you guide us, that you enfold us, and all that happens is pleasing to you, nurturing to our soul, and a spark to our actions. May we not grow weary in doing this good, for at the appointed time, we will reap a harvest if we don't give up. So all your people are living good. I pray this prayer in the presence of all the various faiths and in the one for which I stand in Jesus' name. Let the people of God say amen.
Please welcome Atlanta Housing Board of Commissioners Chairman, Larry Stewart.
Who's that peeking in my window? Me and my family moved in our apartment complex. A gate with the serial code.
Good morning, everyone. As our president and CEO would often say, y'all can do better than that. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Now, in the sense of time, I had a couple of remarks and some acknowledgments that I was going to make. And so in this spirit of imagine, I'm going to say imagine that I actually did shout out some people that are not going to get shouted out today. So I'm sorry to my mama, I'm sorry to my brother, the executive director at Showcase Atlanta, to the Noops, to my church family, New Horizon Baptist Church. All those people did not get shouted out in the interest of time. In the interest of time, I also had a story about Andre, my good friend, and so he's not going to get that story today. He's not even here yet, so I'm not going to tell that story. So this whole section that I had here, I'm just going to look. Where's my little pen? I don't know where. Oh, here it is. See, that whole page, gone. All right. Now, what I will do is, and there's only one shout out, as I did last year. I realize when you get in front of a people in the city of Atlanta, if you don't shout out your high school, they will steal your street cred. So Redan High School did get a shout out this morning. So thank you guys. I appreciate and want to say welcome to all of our housing partners, our colleagues, stakeholders, City of Atlanta leaders, movers and shakers across the housing industry. We thank you for coming and being with us here this morning. Now, I will make sure that I do acknowledge what I think is the best board in the entire country. And so I want to take a moment to acknowledge my fellow Atlanta Housing Board of Commissioners that are in the building. Would you please stand? Yeah. Thank you. They are a pleasure to work with, and this is hard work. So make sure y'all give them a hand clap every time you see them for the work we do. And then on behalf of Atlanta Housing, I want to thank you to our President and CEO, Terri Lee. You bring a relentless dedication day in and day out to this job. And you lead this agency with an ever-changing housing environment. Your steady leadership is guiding Atlanta Housing through a really pivotal moment at this time. And it's been a truly honor for me to witness the growth of this agency under your tenure. And so thank you. And to all of the rest of you, thank you all for taking your time to be here today. The conversations we're going to have this morning matter. And they will shape what comes next. As you guys know, the mayor has always said that this affordable housing is what we call a real, true group project. This group project requires partnership, negotiation, understanding, trust, and above all, effective leadership. When I first envisioned this state of Atlanta housing, the goal was simple but urgent: to bring partners together, to hear directly from this agency about the amazing work that we do, and to align around where we are and where we must go. Today, that purpose carries even greater weight. The moment is asking more of us. And while it is important to have partners and leaders in this room today, this convening is ultimately about the people who are not in this room. You see those cardboard cutouts? They are representative of who we really need to serve. And so the urgency of housing could not be more clear. We hear it every day across the city from people of all ages, but particularly between 18 and 35, asking whether it's still possible to live in the place they love. They are weighing job opportunities against housing costs, wondering whether saying yes to working in Atlanta means living outside the perimeter, and questioning how can they plan their families and their futures without a pathway to afford a home inside of it. And if we do not answer this call right now, in this moment, we will lose something fundamental. We risk losing the very fabric of what makes Atlanta special, and the promises that the future generations can build their lives here in the ways that so many of us have. So I've lived on the east and west sides of this Atlanta, both right outside of it and inside of our city limits. And as an adult, literally both in Buckhead and Bankhead. Those experiences showed me that both the opportunity this city has and the disparities that still exist just miles apart. And on both sides, I've seen strong communities, deep pride, and resilience. And I have also seen the consequences when access to housing, health, and opportunity is uneven. I'm sure you've seen the presentation that Courtney English, our chief of staff for the mayor, and the mayor have said around the tale of two cities in Atlanta. As I shared in last year's address, I moved from Buckhead to Bankhead. I pivoted my life from a career in software development to a place of doing entrepreneurship and nonprofit work. And that was all in the service of trying to figure out where could we turn to live, work, and play on the west side and how we can make that a reality. And one of the barriers that I saw when that happened was that my life expectancy dropped by 2 decades. Statistically, it would be normal now. It would even be statistically the answer for me to die in a decade. And that's why for me and my neighbors, this work is urgent. Now imagine with us what is possible with the work of Atlanta Housing. Atlanta Housing is moving with purpose. You have seen the progress at Bowen Homes Phase 1, which is on track for completion by the end of this year. You can clap for that. But that's just one example, right? We have work that's happening and advancing at Bankhead Courts, at Herndon Square, at the Civic Center, at Inglewood, and sites all across this country, across this city. And this work goes beyond buildings, right? It is driving economic activity, supporting jobs, and creating mixed income communities that will bring opportunity closer to where people live. So as I always say, this is not just hard work, this is heart work. By the morning's end, my hope is that each of you will feel prepared and called to help reimagine what the future of housing in Atlanta can look like and what it will take to meet this moment. Atlanta Housing is largely funded by the federal government, and any federal policy changes at that level will reverberate across families, neighborhoods, and entire communities. We stand ready to meet that moment, but we can't do that alone. Our ask is for everyone. For those of you who have already partnered with Atlanta Housing, we are asking you to go further. We're asking you to double, to triple, to even quadruple your efforts. The moment demands more of all of us. The city is counting on our collective leadership. And for those of us who have yet to get engaged, this is your moment to step up. Join us, work alongside us, and to help us shape what comes next. There's a role for everyone in this work. Imagine what one more phone call to explore a partnership could unlock for a project and a community. So this work is bigger than the headlines we earn or the ribbon cuttings that we attend. It's about answering the call right now. So I thank you in advance for your commitment to Atlanta's present and future. Today we do more because this moment requires more of us. Thank you.
This is a city in motion, a city rooted in history and driven by possibility. At Atlanta Housing, progress isn't a promise, it's happening now. From the heart of downtown, a landmark begins its next chapter. The Civic Center, once a symbol of Atlanta's past, is being reimagined into a vibrant, mixed-use community. 19 acres transformed into opportunity, with hundreds of affordable homes, workforce pathways, and spaces designed to serve generations to come. A bold vision, grounded in preservation, progress, and inclusive growth. Across the city, momentum continues. At Englewood, a 30-acre site is rising into something new, a mixed-income, mixed-use community, fueled by an $87 million investment. More than 900 homes taking shape. 76% dedicated to affordability. Infrastructure rebuilt. Parks reimagined. Communities restored. And in communities like Bowen Homes, the impact runs even deeper. What was once one of Atlanta's largest public housing sites is now part of a broader transformation, focused on restoring opportunity, reconnecting neighborhoods, and creating pathways for long-term growth. Through strategic redevelopment and partnerships, Atlanta Housing continues to invest in the future of the West Side, ensuring that revitalization is not just about rebuilding, but about rebuilding with purpose. And that transformation is taking shape at Herndon Square. Once home to a historic community, Herndon Square is being reimagined into a vibrant, mixed-income neighborhood, blending affordable housing, market-rate residences, and spaces designed for connection and opportunity. With a strong emphasis on preserving legacy while building for the future, Atlanta Housing and its partners are creating a community where residents can thrive. With access to transit, economic opportunity, and neighborhood amenities that support long-term growth. This is more than redevelopment. It's a commitment to honoring history while delivering meaningful progress, ensuring that communities are not just rebuilt, but strengthened for generations to come.
Please
At
welcome
Atlanta.
Damar Goodman.
Atlanta is opportunities and success. Atlanta is protest and civil unrest. Atlanta is me. Atlanta is university homes. Atlanta is growing up on the South Side and dealing with adversity. Atlanta is a full ride to American University in Washington, D.C. Atlanta is me. I am DeMar Goodman. I'm a Southeast Atlanta native and a rising senior at American University. I finished my semester and flew into Atlanta last night because I want you to imagine an equitable Atlanta. Regardless of the circumstances that brought us here today, someone helped us get here. Regardless of the troubles and issues facing Atlanta, still, Atlanta rises. But Atlanta cannot truly rise until we lift up the most vulnerable among us. Institutions are flawed, but they matter to those who rely on them. Policies are excellent branding tools, but they are someone's food, someone's livelihood, someone's housing, and I am proof. In the Washington Post, you can find an article about me. In the wake of the Supreme
Atlanta,
Court's decision striking
the
the
birthplace
first
of
action,
innovation,
I changed
the
my
cradle
comments in its
of
essence
progress.
to take out mentions of my race, where I came from, and what I come from. I should have kept it. Because that story wasn't mine, it was Atlanta's. And the 55,000 students across the city with stories just like mine. That's why I was accepted and enrolled into American University as a student in their politics, policy, and law scholars cohort. A cohort so rigorous it has me on pace to graduate a full year early. That's why I was given a role in AU Student Staff Advisory Council. That's why I'm a senator in the American University Student Government, which has been recognized as the most politically active student union in the country. That is why I work for District 12 of the City of Atlanta Council as an intern. That is Atlanta. My support system allows me to represent Atlanta every day in Washington, D.C. Me, a kid from the south side of Atlanta sitting next to the sons and daughters of politicians and diplomats, and I lead them. Because that's what Atlanta does. So the caseworkers and all of you who make the decisions to provide affordable housing, when you see a kid's file come across your desk, imagine how much more they can do with equitable social support systems. Imagine what Atlanta looks like when they get that support. Imagine me. So it is my distinct pleasure to introduce someone who not only imagines a more equitable Atlanta, but he's working every day to build one. He has been a tireless champion for affordable housing, for investment across every neighborhood in this city, and for making sure that every Atlantan, no matter their zip code, has the opportunity to thrive. I am proud to introduce the man who represents the 8th generation of unbroken Black leadership of this city. And while it's no South Atlanta High School, he is a graduate of the Benjamin Elijah Mays High School, of the Georgia Institute of Technology, and Georgia State University. I'm proud to introduce the man investing in Atlanta's future as the best place to raise a child. Please join me in welcoming the 61st mayor of the city of Atlanta, Andre Dickens.
Man, listen, I don't want you to waste any applause on me. Let's give it up for DeMar, everybody. Look at him. Where'd you go? Come back. DeMar, you gonna be the next mayor? One of them next mayors. You might as well dress like the mayor and everything today. Come. Very, 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 very proud. Come back up here real quick. Terri Lee, I'm just about to take over your stage for a little bit. Look at us, we're twins. Listen, I'm extremely grateful for this opportunity to stand before you this morning. I'm elated, and I really like DeMar's story and what he shared. I can't read these teleprompters, but I know affordable housing enough to just talk about what I know. So sorry to my people that help write the scripts, but I'm gonna talk about what I talk about, which is affordable housing in the city of Atlanta. I woke up this morning. I've already had 4 major conversations, 4 meetings with various parts of the city leadership. And I think about days of the past when I would say something like, they building something over there. They about to do something new over there. They about to open up another part of the Beltline. Or they building over there at doing something. I looked across this room as I came in and I was peeking around and I'm like, ain't no they, it's we. We are building 20,000 units of affordable housing. When I wake up and I, start these extremely long and productive days, throughout those days, there's a combination of civic leadership, government leadership, nonprofit, academic, for-profit, and schools, all throughout the day. And I'm just hopeful that you are reminded that you live in a time where full participation of your citizenship is on display at every last one of these breakfasts, lunches, dinners, meetings. I truly believe that Atlanta is a group project. And the productivity that you see coming out of Terri Lee's shop, Atlanta Housing, and Larry Stewart as the chairman, and all of these great board of directors, along with my administration, which is this full cadre of team members right here, the COO, the city attorney, the deputy chiefs of staff, both of them are commissioner of community development and grants management, and also constituent services, and Reverend Smith, and a whole bunch of other folks that's spread throughout, Chanel and the housing team, I'm sure Amanda somewhere around here. We are working extremely hard to deliver upon the promise of a city that is one safe city, a city that's affordable, a city that's healthy, thriving, whole neighborhoods and connected. And so when we drive around, I remember the first meeting that we had when we selected Terri Lee to be our CEO after a very lengthy process of national search. We knew we had the right one. And I told Terri Lee, I now am pushing you in your back. I'm pushing you and all the board of directors. You will feel our presence every single day that Atlanta Housing has to deliver upon the promise of bringing people back into these communities that have been taken down, and to continue to build into new communities and thrive and make sure that we have mixed income communities throughout Atlanta. You're going to feel the full weight of an affordable housing mayor and his administration, and every day you're going to feel that load, but I know you can take it. Well, you just saw this video, and in that video you see there's construction going on at the Bowen site, Bowen Homes. You see construction going on at the Civic Center site. You see Inglewood that has a substantial amount of construction going on. Eddie and Benoit Group and others are doing that work. And then you see all the other sites that we're about to take off on, whether that's Thomasville, whether that's Hollywood Courts, Bankhead. Throughout all of these sites, we are moving forward and producing the next Atlanta housing story. And you are part of that. And I just wanted to, as I woke up and I was, getting on my day, I'm thinking about how we are a part of this group project. And you are a vital part of that now and beyond. So whether I'm looking at Keith Parker at Goodwill, whether you're at this Goodwill table that helps people move to work, because one thing is to be able to have housing, but the next thing is to continue to have a career that can get you out of subsidized housing, so you graduate out of Atlanta housing into down payment assistance, into full citizenship where you are all on your own. And someone else comes into that unit that we built, so that you don't move into that unit at 25 and stay there until you're 125. God bless you. But we are to make you move up and out. And so to all the developers in the room, thank you We know nonprofits and for-profit developers are really locking arms with Atlanta Housing, Invest Atlanta, whether it's MARTA, our MARTA team. We're doing so much together. We've broken down these barriers, broken down these silos. We are in a strike force still. When we first came in, we're not talking about a task force. We're going to do a white paper and a study and then a committee, that the committee's recommendation is to do a study. And then the study's recommendation is to form a committee. We're not doing that not in the Atlanta that I'm going to lead. No, we get to work. The strike force is delivering things. And so I just stopped by today for the state of housing here at Atlanta Housing. You are the gold standard in the nation. I'm a part of the U.S. Conference of Mayors, the African American Mayors, the Democratic Mayors Association, the Mayors Basketball Team, the Mayors Breakfast Club, the Mayors, the Weeping Mayors, whatever. I'm all the mayors groups. And Atlanta Housing is the gold star at HUD, and it's the gold star across the nation. It is. I have a small portion to do with that. What the major portion to do with that is that it is supported by all of you. Everybody across the nation doesn't get this kind of support. They don't have a group project. They didn't foster that. Their housing department stands on an island and gets picked at. Ours stands together and gets picked up. So, with all that said, thank you. Terri Lee, you're a rock star, you're a friend. You helped train me in this affordable housing work. Larry Stewart, thanks for picking up the gauntlet of work that goes with chairing an outstanding organization like this. And to all of you, let's continue to move forward, continue to progress, continue to push. To our MPU and neighborhood leaders, thank you for saying yes to quality affordable housing development in your community. When everybody says they want affordable housing or housing for the less fortunate, but they don't want it down the street from them, you said yes. And those of you that didn't say yes, and now you're saying, and now you're understanding that yes is really the best way to go. I appreciate you for your growth in that manner, and all of you that are sowing good seeds into the city of Atlanta. I'm proud of you. God bless you all, and let's have a fantastic day. The state of housing in Atlanta is good.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Atlanta Housing President and Chief Executive Officer, Terri M. Lee.
Good morning, Atlanta. Good morning. Now, my chairman already told you what I'm going to do, because I know you can do better than that. Good morning, Atlanta. Good morning. You know, welcome. Welcome to the second state of Atlanta housing. You can't clap for that. You can't clap for that. You know, before I go any further, and Chairman, I know they cut some of your thank yous out, but I'm gonna try to get a few in. I have to acknowledge our mayor, Mayor Andre Dickens, who is a dynamic leader. Mayor, you give your all to this city every day, and I'm not just talking about housing. You pour everything you have to make sure Atlanta is a better place for all of us, and I thank you for your leadership. I thank you for your guidance. I thank you for your friendship. And I even thank you for that push in my back. Because of you, I am a stronger leader today. And I thank you, sir. I thank you. Now, I do believe in the world, but I also believe in a place called heaven. And so to the best board of commissioners on this side of heaven, I thank you. You all have joined me in not just a partnership way, but in really, really embracing how we can push this agency forward to make sure that this city takes advantage of the generational opportunity we have to help people differently. And I thank you for that. For the leadership of my chairman, Chairman Larry Stewart, even though you didn't go to Atlanta High School, I know your heart is in Atlanta. And I thank you. I thank you for just being a phone call away when I need something and when this agency needs something. So please just join me in a round of applause for my Board of Commissioners. To our elected officials that are here with us today, from every level of government, for your staff, we just thank you for your ongoing support that you provide to the communities of Atlanta housing. The work that we do is only possible, not just from a local level, but from a state as well as a federal level, so we thank you. And when I think about federal, you heard my chairman say that the majority of our funding does come from the federal government. Well, that's my partner, the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development. And so I want to thank HUD for all that they do every day and for the federal support that's poured into our agency and our city to help us make people have a better way of life. And to our public sector partners, we work very closely with the Georgia Department of Community Affairs. We work with Atlanta Beltline, Invest Atlanta, I see Dawn is here, as well as the city of Atlanta. Man, I will tell you, all I have to do is pick up the phone and either Deborah or LaShondra will answer my call. And Courtney's in Netherlands, but I know if I call Courtney, he's gonna answer too. And so I thank you all because we are a better agency because of the public sector love that surrounds us. So thank you, thank you. To all the developers in here, I know McCormick, Barron, Salazar is here, the Benoit Group, Cityscape. I'm gonna probably mess up because I didn't call out everybody, Columbia Residential, but every developer that has leaned into the work that we've been called to do, I thank you. For our business leaders, for our philanthropic partners, Keith, thank you for being here. Carlos, thank you for being here. We thank everyone, property owners, service providers, community partners. Everything that we do is a part of the Mayor's Group Project, and we could not lift it up without you. And so I thank you. But I'm proud to be the president and CEO of Atlanta Housing. But the best title that I wear is the baby girl of Ida and Louis Lee. That's the best title I wear. And I am so blessed and fortunate to have my brother and sister here. And I'm not gonna cry. I know y'all got bets, Atlanta Housing. Because Atlanta Housing say I cry all the time. And I got it from my sister. But I know y'all got bets, but I'm not gonna cry. But I'm so grateful to have my brother and sister here with me today. Louis, Stu, I love you. You down there looking like daddy. But I love you so much, man. Sherry, I love you. All that I am, Kevin, my cousin Kevin and Karen are here. All that I am is because of the love and support that my family has given me. They have lifted me up on those days when I've been down. And on those days when I've done well, the first phone call, back in 2004, when I made the decision to come to Atlanta to work with the city of Atlanta, I didn't call my daddy first, I called my brother. And the joy in his voice when he realized that I was coming to Atlanta back in 22 years ago lets me know that I always have a support board with me. So I thank you all for being here today. My family, as well as my friends, are here. My mother's not here with me, but I have Miss Pat here and Miss Margaret here. So I know that my mother's presence is still being felt. So I thank you all. And to my pastor, Pastor Paul, I thank you for being my spiritual father. I thank you for carrying me when I'm down. I thank you for just being a phone call away. If you remember this time last year, you were praying for me because I couldn't walk. And so I thank you for keeping me lifted up, sir. I thank you. And last, but never, ever, ever least, to Atlanta Housing. Thank you for your trust. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your willingness to join me on this journey. Because what we're doing today at Atlanta Housing, if it was something that only I could accomplish, we wouldn't be thinking big enough. And so what we're doing, the opportunity before us is huge and it's massive, but it's important. And I'm grateful that each of you are with me on this journey. So thank you to Atlanta Housing. Will the entire Atlanta Housing team and leadership team please stand? My chief of staff is over in the corner. Kelly, I thank you. I thank you for your leadership. I thank you for just continuing to help us lift up the narrative of Atlanta Housing and who we are, but not just who we are, who we're going to be. So thank you for seeing into the future. And that leads me to where we are today. Imagine. In Atlanta knows something about that. This is a city shaped by people who imagined freedom before it was fully realized, opportunity before it was equally shared, and progress before it was popular. This morning, I need you to imagine with me. Imagine a grandmother who can age in the same neighborhood that she helped raise her children with her dignity intact. Imagine a young father who walks his daughter to the bus stop from a home that he owns. Imagine a mother who clocks out of her shift, walks into a home that is not just affordable, but is safe for her children. That's the Atlanta Housing that we're building. Atlanta Housing is at a strong inflection point. This city continues to grow. And that growth, it brings momentum, it brings investment, and it brings opportunity. But on the flip side of that, it brings higher rents, displacement pressures, and difficult questions about who can afford to stay in a city that they helped build. At the same time, the national landscape is shifting. There are proposals to consolidate rental assistance, impose new policy requirements, limit long-term subsidies. Those are at the forefront of the national conversation. Decisions right now are being made that will shape the future of the housing future for this city for the next decade and beyond. That is why in Atlanta Housing, we have to be clear. We have to be clear about our priorities, and you better believe they're twofold. First, Atlanta Housing, we're gonna lift up housing in the worst crisis that this city has ever seen, and quite honestly, the worst crisis from a housing standpoint that this country has ever felt. Second, and I think the mayor said it best, at Atlanta Housing, we are going to intentionally use housing to help people move forward. Atlanta Housing will be unapologetic about improving communities and changing lives. We will use housing as a platform for stability, mobility, and opportunity. Because Sherry and Lewis and myself, we know what happens when you give a child a chance. And we also know that that's the work that's before us, and that is what we're gonna strive towards every day. So I'm pleased to share with you this morning, Atlanta Housing is focused, and we are moving forward with an urgency that has never been seen before. When we set a goal to do 10,000 units, some thought we were ambitious, some thought we were a little crazy, and some said that would never be done, but not by Atlanta Housing. But today, Atlanta Housing is at 88% of that goal. Since the beginning of our 5-year plan, we have created or preserved 8,830 affordable units across this city. Sarah, Commissioner Kirsch, that progress is the result of execution, the better use of public resources, and a clear understanding that Atlanta cannot meet this housing crisis doing business as usual. We're moving into the home stretch, y'all, with some of the most significant real estate development activity in decades. And I'm gonna digress for a moment because I want you to understand why that really matters and why Atlanta housing is even here and the role that we even play in this city. Because real estate development is important. It's important. But development is only one part of our role. Atlanta housing is an essential part of the infrastructure that makes the city work. We provide rental assistance to over 19,000 households every day, helping our families stay housed. We partner with more than 2,200 property owners to keep affordable units in the market. We support families on the brink of homelessness through emergency assistance and supportive housing. We create pathways to home ownership through development, down payment assistance, and with partners that help families take the next step. All this work that we do is happening simultaneously and at scale. Because you see, Atlanta housing is the largest housing authority in Georgia and one of the largest in the nation. 18% of all rental units in Atlanta are supported by our programs. That makes Atlanta housing Chairman Stewart, that makes us, Atlanta housing, critical to this city's affordable housing ecosystem. The work that we're lifting up and shaping, it's touching entire corridors, not just individual sites. Since I accepted responsibility for the future of this agency, we have repurposed 286 acres of vacant former public housing land and buildings. And that's land Rob Jones, that is land that was vacant for decades, and we've been able to come in and repurpose it. And you can see it. I'm not just talking about it, and it's not just a picture. You can drive by and see it. You can see the capstone developments that we're doing in this city. Bowen Homes with the Benoit Group and McCormick, Barrett, and Sollizer. Atlantic Civic Center with the Michaels Organization. Herndon Square with Penrose. Inglewood South with the Benoit Group. Upon completion, just those 4 developments, just those 4, because I got some more I'm going to talk about, are expected to deliver nearly 5,000 total units, including over 2,500 units of affordable homes. And these are not all of our properties. This is not all Maya Hadari. Tell them, this is not all the work. It's not just those 4. It's not those 4, but it's a powerful example of how we're using public land, public investment, and public-private partnerships to move long-dormant sites into productive use and create communities that serve this city's future. In the last 2 years, we have closed 23 real estate transactions, including the acquisition, a very strategic acquisition of the old Ramada Hotel on Hank Aaron Drive, okay? We own that. And Mayor, Board of Commissioners, I'm coming to you soon with a selected developer on that project. I'm coming very, very soon. Last year, we created or preserved 1,833 affordable units, placing us in strong reach of our 10,000 unit plan goal. Most of Atlanta housing's development activity is taking place on land that we own. And that's important. It's important because we're in the midst of an affordability crisis, and public land is one of the best and most powerful tools we have to create long-term affordability in a city where land is difficult to acquire and expensive to assemble. Within the last 2 years, our real estate activity has leveraged $1 billion, including $136 million from Atlanta housing funding. And but that's not all, because the pipeline ahead is just as significant as the progress that is behind us. Right now, we are working in lockstep with the city, with the Atlanta Beltline, with Invest Atlanta, and our development partners to close 4 additional rental projects within the next 90 days. Together, those projects will bring more than 400 new units across the city. Here are just some examples. Bowen Phase 2. Dawn, you know the story. It'll bring 112 total units with 68 affordable units, and we're going to close that within the next 90 days. If Clyde is here, Clyde, you know the story. Garson Drive, on the Beltline, the north side of the Beltline. Well, baby, we're bringing 130 affordable units to the Beltline. These projects show the full range of our real estate strategy. We are rebuilding legacy communities. We are preserving affordability near major public investments like the Beltline. And in addition to the rental closings, we are working to expand homeownership opportunities. Because across Mechanics, you can clap for homeownership. Because we're in Mechanicsville, we're in Inglewood, we're in West Highlands, we're at Magnolia Perimeter, by Vine City. We are doing homeownership in this city. Atlanta Housing right now today is working with our home builders to provide over 550 new homes, to include 130 affordable homeownership units for homeownership. In the year ahead, just this next year, starting July 1 to June 30th of 2027, we are going, Commissioner Terri, we're going to close 17 more real estate transactions. 17 more real estate transactions. Those closings alone will bring together another 1,800 units of affordable housing to the housing stock here in this city. So when we think about where we are, yeah, we're at 88%. We're at 88%. But when I stand before you next year, we will be at 100%, because we are achieving our goal and we are going beyond for the future. We are providing housing and building a city that goes beyond housing production. It really goes into the future of making opportunities happen. And that's what we've done on the housing side, because our name is Atlanta Housing. And so housing is essential and is critical to the work that this agency does. But our legacy will not stop with the homes we build, but we will be judged by the lives that we change. We will be judged and held accountable. So I need you to imagine with me, not just the pretty buildings, but I need you to imagine that we at Atlanta Housing, we don't just see housing as a destination. We see housing as the starting point. It's the foundation. Our vision is to leverage housing as a platform to lift our families to a level of economic independence. That is the vision of the foundation that we call Resident Renaissance. You see, we serve over 43,000 people in this city. That's more than 16,000 children. That's more than 9,000 seniors, and that's more than 10,000 people with disabilities. One of these residents, and Commissioner Martin, I believe you know Ms. Johnson. I had a chance to speak with Ms. Cheryl Johnson. She's a grandmother. She lives in one of our properties, Martin Street Plaza, and her story stayed with me. You see, when her daughter died, she took on the responsibility of raising her 3 grandkids, Carmen, Corbin, and Shania. Through Atlanta Housing's program, through the work of Pamela Owanta and her team, we were able to get Corbin training for HVAC and electrical. He now has his certificate. And so what does that mean? That means a better way of life for his family. We're creating an economic pathway for him to have an opportunity to have gainful employment. That's what we do at Atlanta Housing. And that story is just not in isolation. We can clap for Ms. Johnson. that story's not in isolation because Miss Rashawn Barneswell, we connected Rashawn and her family to the Urban League of Greater Atlanta. She had one mission. She wanted to become a homeowner. But to do that, she had to do a couple of things. She had high debt. She had poor credit, right? She needed to build a different way of life and be able to provide herself and move herself towards homeownership. So when she entered our doorway, we were determined that we were going to do what we could to help her with the goals that she set for herself and prepare herself for homeownership. Since then, y'all, she's reduced her debt by 50%. She's increased her credit score by 45%. She's earned a tax preparer certification, creating a new source of income. And then she had the audacity to purchase a starter food truck because she wants to be an entrepreneur. And then she went further. She completed a home buyer's workshop, saved $2,500, and she is on her way to purchasing her first house. That's resident renaissance. You see, for us, resident renaissance is not a slogan. It's about a mother building a business, a family preparing for ownership, and a resident moving from stability to mobility. These stories reflect something that my team deals with on a daily basis because we know that in Atlanta, 1 in 5 Atlanta public school students live in either an Atlanta housing assisted apartment complex or community. When Atlanta housing succeeds, our children succeed, right? We are a stronger foundation for what comes next. So we remain focused. We remain focused on housing more people. However, this region can't build its way out of the housing crisis through supply alone. Last year, our Housing Choice Voucher Program, we literally delivered more than $250 million in rental assistance and partnered with more than 2,200 for-profit and nonprofit owners to house more than 19,000 people. But right now, we have 20,000 families on our wait list. And there are many more waiting for the opportunity to be waitlisted, right? That's why it is imperative that we increase the number of families a single unit can serve over time. Our goal is not simply to move families into affordable housing. Our goal is to move families through affordable housing. We envision a subsidized... We envision subsidy not as a destination, but as a temporary launching pad for choice-filled futures. When we introduced Resident Renaissance last year, we knew that this could be a resident-centered, transformational effort, and we knew it would not be easy. We knew it would not be easy. But since then, because Atlanta Housing doesn't run, and I need Atlanta Housing to talk to me, we don't run from what's hard. We do not run from what's hard, because since then, we've been hyper-focused on lifting our families and building a stronger bridge from stability to opportunity. That work is already showing visible results. We have activated more than 55 monthly program offerings, providing free resources and services to our families. I'm talking about more than 400 residents have already been served with education, health, and workforce development opportunities. We've strengthened our commitment to youth and education. Last year alone, we provided $160,000 in scholarships to 21 of our youth through our scholarship programs. Now, why I'm excited about that is because a large portion of those dollars that will be helpful to make sure that our young people can pursue college education, those scholarships are funded in part by my staff. My staff funds those scholarships. And we've also moved forward with significant expansion of our workforce development opportunity. Since our launch, we've worked very closely with Byrd, Goodwill of North Georgia, and the Atlanta Center for Self-Sufficiency. Those activations with those entities have engaged more than 550 of our residents, connecting them to more than 20 employers, on-the-spot hiring opportunities, and free technical training programs. It's not just about affordable housing. We got to get people jobs. We got to get people higher incomes. We have to make sure that in this moment that housing affordability is just not about providing affordable housing, but it's understanding that really affordable housing, what housing costs versus what people make. And so we're reactivating those partnerships to make sure that we're lifting those things up even more. We're even working with United Way of Greater Atlanta to ensure that our young children have access to resources through their learning spaces to make sure that they know how to read. We're building that foundation for our families. That's what we're building. Housing is just the foundation. But services help stabilize families, partners expand opportunity, and my residents, they move forward with greater choice, greater confidence, and greater control of their futures when we invest in them. And so the next phase of our work, we're activating and accelerating. We're getting ready to launch a resident graduation program to formalize pathways. To formalize pathways to help move our families and lift them. And we're not just lifting them up, we're going to surround them with the necessary economic wraparound services so that they can survive long past having a housing choice voucher. Because we literally believe in the dignity of work. In fact, my residents participate in some of the highest levels of employment across this country when it comes to public housing authorities, right here at Atlanta Housing. So we're not stopping there, because if home is where futures begin, then we have the responsibility to ask a harder question. What happens? What happens once that family is housed and employed? Is that the end of their story, or is that where the real work begins? We believe at Atlanta Housing it's just the beginning. For many of our families, the next step is not just employment, but it's economic mobility through ownership. We've heard from our families. Our housing choice voucher participants, they want to own their own units. They want to build equity. They want to be able to pass something down to their children from a generational wealth perspective. And our homeownership work, our homeownership team has already shown what we can do when it comes to homeownership. In the last 3 years, Atlanta Housing has supported more than 750 first-time home buyers, delivering $17 million in direct assistance alongside our friends at Invest Atlanta with $13 million from them. Together, that investment unlocked $194 million in home purchases across the city. So we provide up to $25,000 right now for eligible families who want to purchase a home, first-time home buyers. And that work has helped to create intergenerational opportunities. It's creating a stability that can be passed down to their children. We get it. But we know, and we've heard from our housing choice voucher participants. Our housing choice voucher participants, they are working, they are stable, they have done the preparation, and they're ready for ownership. So I'm ready to help them. Will y'all help me? So today, I am announcing that Atlanta Housing is creating a new down payment assistance program. That new down payment assistance program is specifically for our residents that are graduating through the Housing Choice Voucher program. So I told you we do $25,000 through our regular program. We're going to enhance that to $60,000 for eligible participants. That $60,000 down payment would take our families just from a dream that they've imagined to the reality of becoming a homeowner. And the beautiful part about it is that while we're lifting our families to homeownership, we are also releasing that tenant-based voucher to help another family. So we're going to lift and help at the same time. That's how we make sure people become self-sufficient. And so let me ask you to imagine with me again. I asked at the beginning of this day, I asked you to imagine with me. Not just what Atlanta Housing can be, but this city is so much bigger than Atlanta Housing. Because we know when families in this city have stable, affordable housing, this city works better. When that housing is paired with a path to economic mobility, neighborhoods are stronger, public resources go further, and families regain the power to shape their own future. Some may ask, is that really Atlanta Housing's work? Is that the work of a housing authority? Some may believe that the current system works well enough. Well, I don't. I don't. The current environment states that, and current policy states that. HUD has just released a proposed rule that is going to require, that will allow public housing authorities to require time limits and extended work requirements for our residents, okay? We know that those proposals are creating a future where housing assistance may become very conditional. So we cannot wait for policy to happen to our residents. We have to prepare them for now. Resident renaissance is not a departure from us building housing and our housing mission. It's a response to what comes next and to the moment that we're in. If policy is moving towards time limits, and that's time limits on rental assistance, right? Stronger work requirements, it's our duty and responsibility to make sure that we create a pathway for our residents to be successful. We cannot let our residents be left behind. So I need to ask everybody in this room a direct question. How do you see your role in that future? I believe every person in here has a place in that work. Some of you will help us build. Some of you will help us hire. Some of you will help us train. Some of you will even help our families when it gets really hard and life needs just a stabilization point. We already have partners who are helping us look at that. Last year, Goodwill alone provided services to over 25,000 people, workforce development services. But y'all, they're bringing that same level of service to my residents for free. They're bringing career services to our residents for free. That's what partnership looks like. I don't know how many of you ride the scooters, but Bird is even helping us think differently. Bird is helping us provide last mile access to our residents. They're giving our residents a 50-cent discount for any rides. They're making sure our residents have locations close to their communities where they can get an additional discount. And they are also partnering with our families to create job opportunities in their service center in Atlanta and nationally. That's partnership. Department of Community Affairs. Department of Community Affairs joined us in expanding home ownership opportunities, right? They came together with us and said, hey, let's partner. And we know when two public agencies come together to partner, it's usually a whole bunch of paper and bureaucracy and red tape, right? Well, we cut all that red tape and bureaucracy. And we figured out how to make a down payment assistance program available for our veterans that we could partner with our down payment assistance at Atlanta Housing. To my knowledge, that's the first time that this type of work has been done with DCA. It took persistence, it took partnership, and it took a shared belief that if two public agencies can get out the way and understand how to utilize a tool, that we can make something happen for people. That's what we're doing, and that's real partnership. But that's not all, because I'm excited to announce today that Pretium, they have come alongside Atlanta Housing and basically said for properties that they own, they will provide a $25,000 incentive for our participants to purchase those properties. That's $10,000 in down payment assistance, and that's $15,000 in subsidy if any rehab is needed. That's real partnership. Thank you. So these partnerships, what they have in common is leverage. They are built around a shared value, shared mission, and shared outcomes. They stretch the dollars we have further, and they help move our agency from providing services to building systems of opportunity. That is the next chapter of lifting up this work. So, when you walked in, you saw the clouds and you saw the words imagine. And I've shared with you what our future looks like. But now I offer that opportunity to you. Imagine an Atlanta where affordable housing is not a last resort, but a platform of opportunity, where homeownership is within reach for families, where a housing choice voucher is not just a transaction, but a promise of mobility and choice, where families no longer living on the brink are supported, stable, and able to move forward, where a neighbor who has worked her whole life and now lives on a fixed income that didn't keep up with the cost of rent. Commissioner Elliott, imagine our elderly residents, our residents living with disabilities. For them, we have one charge: dignity and grace. Because you see, we must provide housing. That is our charter, and we will continue to do it with urgency. But our impact would not be measured by units alone. Our impact would be measured by how many lives did we change because those homes exist. It will be measured by the child who graduates because he or she had a stable address. It will be measured by the father who closes on his first home because someone helped him understand credit and savings. It will be measured by the grandmother who ages in place because her home was modernized with dignity in mind. It would be measured by the veteran who becomes a homeowner because public agencies got out of the way and believed his or her future was worth investing in. Because when you lift a life, you build this city. So we keep building, we keep imagining, and we keep moving Atlanta forward. Welcome home, Atlanta. Let's get to work.
About where we're from. It's a statement thing about where our city is going. Home fuels the love, nourishment, and safety that's required to dream of a brighter tomorrow. That happens with our friends, our loved ones, and our neighbors. The YMCA Metro Atlanta